no video, Robert.
Huh. Have you got sound?
We have sound but no video.
How utterly weird. All right. Well, let me see.
It was there for a minute.
Let's try again. That looks like you got video.
Very good.
We are the infinite within ourselves. We can find no beginning. We can find no end. All this we are. All this we are. Take that book.
This way.
Right.
I trusted it. That it was a very small house which I bought.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that
Do
is.
you remember how you first heard about the houses up here in the desert? How did you hear there was land to get up here?
I walked.
You walked?
I found it.
Huh.
I walked. It had a very wonderful position.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's round, all around. Nothing can go wrong there. That is very true.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, dear Dharma friends. Just a little glimpse of Ruth. The women in that first singing video, the top two women are probably still are, leaders, Buddhist, very large communities in Europe. And I can't remember their name. Sylvia Wissel was one of them. That was at the last teachers' conference that Ruth went to. I went with her in New York. We had a good time there. I found her a wheelchair. I rented her a wheelchair so she could be more mobile. And the last night was a dance. One of the teachers from Spirit Rock sponsored a dance, and Ruth loved to dance, so she danced in her wheelchair, and it was quite something. Quite something. All right. A poem about mindfulness in a slightly different vocabulary than usual. Lovely to see you, incidentally. Fine picture, Birch. So, this is by Billy Collins. It's called Aimless Love. This morning as I walked along the lakeshore, I fell in love with a wren. And later in the day with a mouse the cat had dropped under the dining room table. In the shadows of an autumn evening I fell for a seamstress, still at her machine in the tailor's window. And later for a bowl of broth, steam rising like smoke from a naval battle. This is the best kind of love, I thought, without recompense, without gifts or unkind words, without suspicion or silence on the telephone. The love of the chestnut, the jazz cap, and one hand on the wheel. No lust, no slam of the door. The love of the miniature orange tree, the clean white shirt, the hot evening shower, the highway that cuts across Florida. No waiting, no huffiness or rancor. Just the twinge every now and then for the wren who had built her nest on a low branch overhanging the water, and for the dead mouse still dressed in its light brown suit. But my heart is always propped up in a field on its tripod, ready for the next arrow. After I carried the mouse by the tail to a pile of leaves in the woods, I found myself standing at the bathroom sink, gazing down affectionately at the soap. So patient and soluble, so at home in its pale green soap dish. I could feel myself falling again, as I felt it turning in my wet hands and caught the scent of lavender and stone. So a reminder as we set off into practice to bring love into everything, or more accurately to recognize that what we are is the love of everything. Or maybe even closer, we are everything. So, dear friends, please let us sit comfortably upright. Comfortably upright and bringing aliveness and awareness into breathing. We practice here and now in this moment of aliveness. And notice the arising and falling of the chest and abdomen. I don't know if it comes through the microphone, but there's the sound of large drops. Heavy rain, relatively heavy rain now. The ground is all white outside from snow overnight. Hearing. Layer after layer of delusion and fantasy falls away. There are all kinds of things the mind is prone to doing. It's really very accustomed to wandering off into the past and future. It feels absolutely normal to have the story of the self ongoing. I like this, I don't like that. I wish I had done this, I wish I hadn't done that. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. My opinion about this is this. My opinion about that is this. And it's so easy to just stay entranced. It's also remarkably easy, natural, to realize, oh, this is thinking. These are stories. And right now there's this dead mouse under the table to pick up and carry to the forest. There's this breath right now. And so we become more and more alive and intimate with life. Is there something the mind is worrying about today? It often tends to pick some crisis of the day to worry about. And then it seems normal to be caught up in that. And then mindfulness illuminates it. And quite remarkably, then, there's just sitting here. And there's absolutely nothing to figure out. No problem to solve. There's just this coming and going of the breath, sound of the rain on the roof. we stop our physical movements in the world. We practice sitting like a rock. This makes the impulses to move very visible. It becomes clear that they are impersonal. We take the extraordinary simplicity and beauty of breathing in and breathing out as an intended home base. Which makes the movements of mind more obvious. We stay put and observe the coming and going of emotions. They feel so personal, they're so engrossing. Our sitting like a rock or like a Douglas fir tree or something else, a mountain maybe. With an intention of being awake, of being mindful. We notice liking and disliking. We notice restlessness and agitation, worry, sloth and torpor, dullness. And oftentimes we are lost in them. The story of the self sings itself. And when we can, we participate in this mystery of waking up. In a way, we take this time to invest in the direction of waking up. The list of pleasures wanted, to-dos that need doing, activities that need doing or are desired, come and go. They come and go, and there is in-breathing and out-breathing. in addition to the 5 hindrances and the 7 enlightenment factors and all the other remarkable lists, we are visited by emotions. Sometimes a little emotion comes and goes. Sometimes a big one comes. It's like physical pain. What do we do? Well, we turn toward it. We notice where it exists in the body. We notice what the thoughts are that come with it. And we let it move through. We let it have its life. This practice is not about becoming numb or transcending everything. It's about living this life fully. To quote the book about Anagarika Munindra. Living this life fully. And that means experiencing the disappointments really fully. Experiencing the beautiful beginnings of new things really fully. And in the middle of even the most extreme emotion, there's something very strange happening, which is that there is an aspect of us which is unmoved, unmovable, which is simply aware. There is this presence of knowing, oh yes, this is sadness, or this is anger, or this is joy, this is equanimity. And so we sit like a rock, like a boulder, like a mountain. Like an old sequoia. We've been through a lot. And we ground in the aliveness, which is in breathing and out breathing, which is the sensations in the hands, in the feet, in the legs, in the forehead. May all beings everywhere share in the merits of our practice. This is one of those moments of pretty quiet mind here, and everything that comes up as an announcement to say is quite uninteresting. So I think I will invite you to share anything that's happening for you. And those of you that are quiet, it's absolutely fine to remain quiet. You never, ever have to say anything here. However, if there's something that, hang on a sec, Tim. If there's something that wants to be said through you, I encourage you to take the leap if you don't. And those for whom it's very easy to share, please let's be sure to leave room. And I'm not saying don't share. I'm just saying let's leave some space for the more introverted and for those who, whatever the case, I don't need to describe it anymore. But Tim, hello. Haven't heard from you in forever.
Hi. I got up this morning, was surprised to see it was snowing, and I went on the porch. And trees laying down in my neighbor's driveway.
Huh.
And I was just reflecting on that while we were meditating. That tree's not a big, huge tree, but, maybe 30 years old, or not a little bitty tree either, maybe 30 or 40 years. And I was thinking how that tree every morning and every night, stood there and grew a little bit, and it was putting on leaves this spring, and just like every April in all those years. And then this morning it's laying in the driveway like its life took a complete sudden turn in another direction.
Thanks, Tim.
Good morning, Robert, and
Good.
everyone.
Hello, good morning.
I'm sitting here watching. I'm looking out at clear blue skies. The light on the snow on the mountains is incredible, and there's a flurry of activity on top of the water. The gulls are finding feed, and they're reflecting the because they're white. They're reflecting the light similar to the light on the top of the mountains. It's quite beautiful. We had hail the other day when you got snow. We had a bit of hail, but I just wanted to share that I was online and I discovered your hero, Ajahn Sumedho, and was able to watch and listen to a talk. And I found it quite wonderful. And there are a few listed on the site, so I will go back and listen to some of the others. You mentioned that he was coming to Portland. Do you know when or
Yes,
where?
he's coming here. I believe it's the 29th of May. He'll be at Friends of the Dhamma. Yeah.
It would be nice if it was broadcast in some way.
I don't know. Maybe they do that. I think they have been doing some during Zoom. It's not, it's a different center from ours, so I can't say, yep, I'll do that. In fact, I'm going to be out of town. I will be at Hollyhock at that time.
Right.
I think. Yeah.
He's only 2 months difference from me in age.
Sumedho?
But I was it was interesting to see how much older he seemed in his voice and his being.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't all carry age the same way.
There is something I could mention, which is that in PIMC's rebirth, Doug Pullen's gathering at 7:30 on Thursday nights is now happening in person, starting this Thursday. And Jim is coming back to life at the center. You want to mention that, Jim?
Yes, this is the third week of April, so the third Saturday is a routine I've followed for many years. Just sit quietly, listen to some poetry as seeds for contemplation, and move a little bit using some of the things that I've learned over the years teaching Tai Chi. And those mindful movements are very healing, and it's something that's been a foundation and a grounding for me and about a dozen other people, all during COVID. And we decided as a group this morning that we're not going to practice out in the snow. So we've been through thick and thin for 2 years, but we're going to all sleep in. So I'm awake, but I'm not going out in the snow. So anyway, Saturday I'll be at PIMC sharing mindful movement and meditation and poetry. Hope to see you there.
Do you want people to sign up for that, Jim, or just?
Oh yeah, please. Yeah.
How can they do that?
I can share. No, I can't. Well, anyway, there's a item on the Portland Insight website that had about the third one down on the left-hand column. I saw it yesterday when I was at the center. I was showing someone how to find it. There's 3 columns. Well, no, on a phone, there's just 1 column. But anyway, it'll be one of the first things you see as you scroll down.
Hang on, please. Here is the PIMC website. And here is the top. And you go down here and Qigong half-day retreat. This is it here. And if you go here, I think this will allow you to register here somewhere. Yeah, here you go to register there. Okay,
and
thanks,
Avi's
Jim.
put in all the dates for the rest of my life, I think. I didn't realize he had done that. I'm committed now.
Yeah, December the 17th, 2022.
I'll bet no one shows up, so I may cancel that one. That's too close to Christmas. Thank you.
Robert,
I
I'm
hear a
trying to
voice.
find a meditation. This is Vicky. Hi. I'm trying to find a meditation that you did on December 1st, 2021, on possibly YouTube or something to watch it again. And I'm not sure how to do that. I've been looking, just Googling December 1st, Robert Beatty meditation, and it's not coming up with it. So how do I do that sort of thing?
I would suggest December the 21st.
First, December 1st.
December the 1st. What happened on December the 1st?
It was very, whenever there's a meditation you do that's very meaningful, which is probably, well, I don't want to say, but anyway, I write down the date, and whatever that was touched me in a way that was special.
So let me suggest this. If you were to go to YouTube.
Okay.
And look there, and if you don't succeed, email me.
Okay.
And I will.
Okay.
I'll
Google
on it.
YouTube, and then I'll just go under Robert Beatty. Okay.
Look for Robert Beatty meditation in YouTube. That'll bring you to the channel, and then they're all listed there. And when I open up my YouTube channel, they're all by date.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah. If someone would like a job, there is something that could be of great help to me and to many others, which would be that when you participate in the morning meditation or any of the other things that go to the Zoom, or if you would be willing to annotate what was the meditation, how was it different, what was the topic, then I could deputize said person to put it on the website, or we could figure out some way to categorize these, because they happen and I have no idea when something of particular importance or beauty is going to happen, and they happen and they get saved. But I have not the time or energy to even track. So if someone has the interest in doing that, I would be delighted. Just contact me, robert@robertbeatty.com.
Okay, so I can contact you at robertbeatty.com.
You can. No, robert@robertbeatty.com.
Okay.
Robertbeatty.com will take you to the website,
Okay.
which is worth a trip. If you haven't been to robertbeatty.com, I highly recommend it. And when you're there, scroll to the very bottom because there's a really exquisite animated video, not animated, there's an audio video beauty there on the Trust in the Heart Sutra. Beautiful thing. Sam 4-inch and his son collaborated with me, and we made something really gorgeous and powerful.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Robert, I can help with that.
Okay. Oh, really? Ooh, okay.
I'm always here, and I know how to use. I can just take notes or whatever. If you want to just shoot me an email or something like that to let me know exactly what you want, that'd be great.
Will you send me an email?
I can do that.
Thanks. Thank you, Paula. That's really wonderful. I had a great success. I was at the center till 7:30 last night. Long day. Started in the morning. But thanks to Paul Levine, we went and purchased a fine TV monitor that it didn't work in the morning for the Sunday meditation, but it did work by later in the morning. Or it worked by late last night. I got it to work. And I discovered how easy it will be for me to use my charts and things in live teaching at PIMC. Also, when we do Zoom classes, gatherings, like it won't be this Wednesday, but anyway, the Zoom people will be able to be present in the room visually and auditorily. So we're figuring out how to do this hybrid teaching. I participated in the Northwest Dharma teacher gathering on Saturday morning, and almost to a person, everyone is struggling with how to do hybrid. And also how to do hybrid as a teacher, because, to be there with the people in the room and then to be there with the people on Zoom, it's a little strange. But quite a leap happened last night for me, and so I'm feeling pretty positive about that. And someone asked, "Are we continuing to meet live?" Yes, we will. We will, if and until we can't again. If we did get another big run of COVID, then of course we would follow the guidelines and. Here's a Steffi thing. I heard of Robert Darmatuk I knew would help my sister and brother-in-law. I called them the same day, excited, but there were AV problems and no recording. Yes, that happens too. Yeah. You know, I forget to flip one stupid switch and there's no sound to somewhere. Yesterday I arrived very early at PIMC, 8:15. Starts at 10. Because I wanted to get everything set up and working. And it was one of those times when nothing worked. And I observed as this mind, that mind, usually I do that stuff, it just doesn't get me. Or there's a little irritation, you know, it's like, oh, this is a pain in the ass. But yesterday, somehow or another, it turned into this tangle of wires and fantasy wires inside the computer, and it did come together sort of at 20 to 10. Oh, and before I left home, I sat for a while before I left home, and I was in a really spacious, lovely space, thinking, oh, it'll be fun teaching today, because, you know, it's nice to teach from a place of great ease and as though I understood something. And and at 20 to 10, people were arriving, and I left by the front door with the thought, I am leaving and I am not coming back. It was quite an interesting, like a tantrum was happening. So I went to my office and sat for a little while, and it actually was a thank goodness for the practice, because it was really wild mind. And then I sort of passed out, like for 5 or 6 minutes I was gone. And by then things had calmed down a lot, and another 5 minutes later it was really quite in a lot of balance, and I got to walk in and be present. But I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I have this mind rather than the mind I grew up with and lived with. Jeez. To be able to take 10 or 15 minutes and find the ground again. And then the tech worked okay, I think. And also Jamie Flanagan was helping. It's really helpful to have someone in the hall who can point out, as she did once yesterday, no sound to Zoom. So having help is so helpful. That's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? I guess not. I've had help from small children when I was doing tasks that was not helpful. Can I help? Well, anybody have anything else you'd like to share, my dear friends? Hang on. When you say you passed out, so you meant sleep? I don't know if it was sleep. It was not conscious. It was akin to sleep. Hard to know. But there was no mindfulness, and time passed without any observation. Very restful. I could say it was a power nap. It served that function anyway. Neurotransmitter resetting. Kylie.
Is this space to just like bring up things that we're working through or
Absolutely. Whatever is in your heart that you'd like to share and feel safe doing in such a public forum, here it is.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, something that's been coming up for me a lot in meditations and in life in general lately is determining or working with like when to change, or when to read into feelings of dissatisfaction and loneliness, and that the balance between acceptance and then like moving, making changes in life, because of the state of being that I'm in. And it's really tricky. I don't know how to get more specific about that, but I wonder if you have any thoughts about understanding how to change wisely.
The first thing that pops to mind is that heavily used, well-worn prayer from the AA world, which is actually from an old Irish prayer. God grant me the serenity. How's it go, God? I'm forgetting right now. God. Funny. Anybody can remind me? It's so silly, I can't remember. God grant me the serenity to change the things.
To accept
accept the things
I cannot change.
I cannot change. I'm stuck.
Change the things I can, I think. And the wisdom to know the difference.
And the wisdom, I got right. So to change the things I can and to accept the things I can't. And so, as you spoke, Kylie, it reminded me of the struggles, really profound struggles I've had in relationships. That when things really in my life, I've had a couple of marriages, and before that, pretty powerful relationships, and I've struggled so mightily. Well, should I stay or should I go? Is this a wise thing to do, to stay, or should I blow the thing up? And I remember I had an encounter with Jack Kornfield after my first marriage was 17 years. And my children came from that marriage, and it was a very complicated relationship, and there were wonderful, beautiful things, and but then finally my first wife, initiated a divorce, which I found extremely difficult. Custody battle, trouble, blah blah blah, and anyway, I was at the first West Coast teachers meeting with Jack Kornfield and Ruth Dennison and others. And I talked about the horrible struggle with the divorce that I was engaged in. And I said I was really stupid to stay so long. And Jack approached me 2 days later, actually, and said, I've been thinking about what you said. And actually, I think you might instead feel really good about yourself because you stayed. You tried everything you could, and you took it as a sadhana, as a spiritual practice, and then I'm actually conflating this. This was my second marriage and the departure from that, because I left the second time, and. He said, you did it fully, and then when you left, it was clear. Now, first, I guess, tertiarily, it's really hard to know in life, often, what should I do? And so I am Hang on here. There's something that's just nagging that won't quite come through. Seeking the guidance, the reflection of people who are in the role of wise elder or therapist or fine friend. Having confidants so that one is not completely alone in the struggle is really helpful. And there's this classic things of, you write down the pros and cons and you do it on a piece of paper that you don't leave around. You burn it so that there's never any risk like that. I'm a strong proponent of that. And you take it into your meditation really deeply. I know with some, it's funny, I'm just not feeling very clear here. With some decisions, I have found it really useful to struggle and struggle and struggle and watch the mind and meditate with it and so on, and to write out the question and struggle. And then to get as clear as I can with the question. What is it I'm trying to get an answer for? And then I write it very carefully in my best cursive. It's funny. With my good pen on nice paper. And then I fold it up carefully and I put it under my Buddha. And then until next Sunday at 7 o'clock, for instance, anytime this question arises, I'm going to dismiss it. It's not my question anymore. It's the Buddha's. And so it's a way of relegating it to a source of wisdom that's not my ego. And then at that time, maybe I sit for an hour ahead of time, and then I take the paper out and I carefully unfold it, and then I sit with what comes up. And that can be really helpful too. And one last thing, and this is from Sheldon Kopp, who was a very competent psychotherapist 20 years ago or so. He was diagnosed with a fatal brain tumor, terminal brain tumor. And in the next 2.5 years, he wrote 3 books. One of them was Back to One. He was an early person using meditation in therapy. Back to One, and If You Meet the Buddha on the Road, Kill Him, and there was one other. But in one of those books, there's a list he calls the eschatological laundry list. And somewhere in that list, there's a line that I found very helpful, which was, all of life's real decisions are made on the basis of insufficient evidence. Right? The real, if information will make the decision, then it's not a real decision, right? It's a calculation. But allowing, and I guess one more thought, which is, have you been around when I've been teaching about mindfulness of pain, physical pain?
In teaching, but in the meditations, when you speak to pain in meditations.
Yeah. So with physical pain, it's simpler. We sit, we pay attention, it's hurting. We notice that and we come back to the breath. We come to where it's hurting again and again. And then if it persists and the suffering of it persists, we turn toward that no matter how painful. We turn toward it and go inward. Accept it. Feel the resistances to it. We can do exactly the same thing with the pain of being caught in a dilemma. So there's this, whatever this thing is that you're struggling with, there's a part of you that wants to just get away from it. Right? Distract. I don't want to face this. I mean, who wants to face that kind of thing? But you might, if it's possible, get some time, get an hour, get 2 hours, take a weekend, find some space just for you, and then turn toward it with all your might. And that's really asking a lot of yourself. However, However, the spiritual path asks everything of us. So I hope that's helpful, poking at it from those different directions. And I wish you well with it.
Yes, thank you so much. So helpful.
Life is really hard. It's much harder than the advertising. Well, I think I need to go. On my round of visiting, as one gets older, one meets more and more young people who have MD after their name. And so I had this marvelous young man. Inject my spine with some steroids 2 weeks ago, and it's really helping. And I get a follow-up appointment with him today to thank him. So got to head out for that. Hope the driving's okay. Shall we sing our way home? Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. May all beings receive all blessings. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Well, friends, happy trails today.
Bye, David.
Bye, Brother Had. Dharma, bro. Be well, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Vicky.
Bye, Victoria.
Goodbye. Thanks,
Watch out,
Jim.
Eric. You're going to be attacked by a dog.
Bye, Jamie.
All right.
Bye-bye, darling.
Goodbye.